I just tried to record this and it wasn't recording, so let's try again. Good morning. I want you to understand that man would have you believe the year is 2020. But upon some further study, you'll see that it actually is 5,780. Right before 5,781. Now today I'm going to read a little bit and then I'm going to tell you a story. Where we left off was 1 Timothy 6 verse 6, which states that godliness with contentment is great gain. Let's carry on with verse 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and certainly it is certain we can carry nothing out. What did you bring into this world? Did you bring a Game Boy? Did you drive a Ferrari at your mama's? You didn't bring anything. It's certain you're not bringing anything out. That's God's word, not mine. Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. What's raiment? Raiment is clothes. Clothes. Okay? Now, having food and clothes, that's enough. Do you know how many people don't have food and clothes? I mean, even babies get clothes. They can't go to work. Even babies get food. You don't hear of babies starving to death. God gave mothers milk. God didn't give some mothers milk. However, having food and clothing, we should be happy. Verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drowned men in destruction and perdition. Right? For the love of money, keep a close ear right now. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which will, while some were greedy, coveted, after they have erred, turned away from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Now we're going to go into verse 11 on to probably 16 tomorrow. But it was pretty interesting because as I read verse 9, I really thought about it. I'm a disabled veteran. I receive a Social Security payment. It's not enough money. I am preparing to go back to work with a lot more peaceful of a job this time. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying this. What hit me really was where it says in verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare. Do you come in the world rich? You didn't bring no money. More money, more problems. More money, more problems. Alright, now, where are we? I had something else that I wanted to read to you today. And, where is it? Did you know that we're in a critical period? A window of time, so to speak. There's a biblical pattern to the fallen judgment of a nation or a civilization. a biblical pattern. Do you know that from the year, there's another time period that could also be significant, but in an ominous way. And that day comes this year, on September 11th. It will mark the 19th year since the atrocity that they call 9/11 happened. Was it fabricated? Was it orchestrated? Check it out. In 605 BC came the first strike when the armies of Babylon invaded the land of the kingdom of Judah. 605. It was a temporary and limited invasion, a wake-up call, but the nation didn't turn back. In 586 BC, 19 years later, after the first strike, the full force of judgment came, and the nation was destroyed. There was national destruction. The time between the two events, the first strike and the judgment, 19 years. 19 years from September 11, 2001 is September 11th, 2020. 5,781. Whether or not 2020 proves to be an eventful or uneventful year, we need to be aware of one thing. We're on borrowed time. Every biblical template warns that any nation so brazenly abandoned the God of its foundation is heading toward calamity. Will we see judgment or revival? Or both? Nobody thought of that scenario. The problem is this. Just as the kingdom of Judah fell further into their sin and abandoned God further and further, so has America taken up this ancient template, unaware that rather than say, we shall rebuild, that we'll make it better, they'll never tear it down. We were supposed to humble ourselves